Yes, indeed. Unquestionably, our very own Harry Enfield sex podge, the raunch with the paunch, and you have finally seen it. Ladies and gentlemen, you see before you a changed man. It's not just because I've had the beard, but something has really changed in my life. I finally passed my driving test the third time. I passed... No, it's no big deal, actually. I passed it twice before. I just like being ordered about, that's all. They do order you about. They are little Nazis down there. Oh, the driving testers. It is actually, at the moment, Kurt Waldheim is currently denying that he ever used to be a British driving tester. I think it's in the Department of Transport rules that you've got to be a really nasty person. They're probably all right at home. They're probably at home, they're stroking a gerbil and doing a washing up, and they stroll off down the test centre whistling a happy tune, but as they get closer, the legs begin to stiffen and the arm comes out. By the time they get there, they're ready to kill. And they're going to kill me, because I'm sat there. We're all sat there for our tests, all us little farties there. We all are all scared and all farty, and I'm the fartiest of them all. And everyone else is, I'm 28, and everyone else is 7 flipping teen. They're all thinking, that left-wing brat off the telly took a long time to take his test, didn't they? We're all going to pass first time. I passed first time, actually. I know you did. Yes, I passed on the morning of my 17th birthday, actually. Daddy used to take me down the aerodrome and do a lot of driving in the tractor. Ah! And I'm sat there and I know I'm going to fail. I'm thinking, none of you little pass, you 17-year-olds, you can't see over your zits. You do an emergency stop too fast, your face will explode. I've got no chance. If you're 17, you pass first time. 17-year-olds, pick up your certificates at the door if you've got enough acne. Ben Elton, and a woman who fails every year and gets in the Daily Mirror for failing 47 times, get out of your cars. So out they come at exactly 4:30, and a little posse of driving testers enter the room with their clipboards. They move in a group just so that nobody can beat them up. They've pissed off so many people. And they look round. Elton! Hello, excuse me, that's me, I'm sorry. Yes, it's me, I'm sorry, excuse me. You are gonna fail. Get out of your car. Memorise that, tell us that number plate. Don't worry, you probably memorised it already, you cheat. In the car, clunk. Right. Do exactly what I say. I'm thinking, oh, this is getting a bit kinky now. I wish I'd worn my rubber knickers. I'm thinking, maybe if I let him spank me, he'll pass me immediately. I don't know. We're driving along. He says, right, when I slap the dashboard, I want you to respond in the manner as if a young person has impetuously and irrationally rushed out into the road. I say, fair enough. He slaps the dashboard, I shout, oh my God, inner city riot, petrol bomb, he'll scratch my Volvo and accelerate to 120 miles an hour. He says, all right. You're in. You're obviously a nasty enough person. They do not teach you, ladies and gentlemen, the real skills you need, all this mirror signal manoeuvre, the real skills you need in Britain. The minute you pass your driving test, you've got to have certain skills. They should teach us them. I mean, every driver in Britain does them. I'd like to see a bit of the test where the test instructor turns to me and says, now, Mr. Elton, I want you to wind down your window very fast, poke your head out and go, get some glasses, you blind bastard! That's what you've got to learn to do, you see. There should be a section of the test on deniability, because no one has ever admitted to anything in a car. They never admit to doing anything. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. Did you see the way that... What a prat. Did you see the way that prat drove? You're driving the wrong way up the motor. Look at all those prats. They're all driving towards me. It's not my fault. I mean, you drive up the end of a pier. How the hell was I supposed to know the sea was there? It is not my fault. Why is it that people turn into idiots the minute they're behind a wheel? Especially blokes. The minute they're behind... I think it's because they're very disappointed, because they always thought that their cars would be a kind of penis extension. That's what they wanted, you know. Wanted cars to be a penis extension. I don't know why. You look a bit silly with a Peugeot on the end of your knob, but there you go. Take your breath away, that's for certain. Anyway, so, there's a number of things. There's a number of things that are there to ruin your life once you drive, ladies and gentlemen, to mess up your lives. Like, you can't get a decent meal these days if you're out on the road. You used to have a calf, you take potluck. Maybe it's all right, maybe it wasn't. These days, there's only two. There's a Little Chefs and there's a... What's the other one called? I think they're called Unhappy Vomiters, right? They've got a sort of logo. It's a sort of happy, jolly, round head, you see, and the bloke's kind of poking at his mouth, you see. He's trying to make himself throw up after he's just eaten one of the meals, you know? All these signs you see beside the motorway. No point to them. It's just a sign. It says... BBC Radio God knows where, 10,000 million kilohertz VHS. Well, very useful. Definitely got a tune to that one, sounds very exciting. I'll put it into reverse into that juggernaut to get the coordinates of it. The one thing on the road, ladies and gentlemen, that is there to ruin your life, of course, everyone talks about them, bollards, but I must have my say. I was on tour all last autumn. It got so I couldn't get to my bedroom at night unless the tour manager put out a load of orange cones to show me the way. There is no correlation between the number of bollards and the extent of the roadworks. None whatsoever. In London, we could have a kind of tin triangle all bent and kicked to the side of the road. It is guarding a 40-yard chasm with a tube train in the bottom. On a motorway, you can crawl past 35 miles of contraflow and bits of bollard, and in the middle, there is a wheelbarrow on the hard shoulder. Nothing else, nothing going on. Just people running up and down, 3 lanes of motorway, and suddenly there's just loads of motorway maintenance vehicles going up and flicking the V's because they're allowed to drive up the motorway and they've got it to themselves. What are they doing? There's no work going on. Just driving up and down. I'll tell you what they're doing. They're going to the back of the queue, picking up the bollards, taking them up the front and putting them down again. That is what they're doing. What is that? Ladies and gentlemen, the sign. The sign for roadworks on the motorway is this. It's a triangle with a person digging. Why? Why? Have you ever seen a person digging beside a motor? It's just there to remind you what one looks like. I'll tell you what should be in that triangle. Nothing. Nothing at all. An empty triangle with bugger all in it. And underneath, the word end. End of bugger all. Bugger all is over. There is no more bugger all. You may now proceed on your way for 300 yards or just enough time to get into second gear and bugger all will start again. And those who really trash with your brain, they think, how are we really going to ruin their lives? How are we going to make them sit sweating, wishing that we had a decent train network so the roads wouldn't be so crowded? How are we going to sit? How are we going to really break their hearts after they've had their hernias sitting in a queue breathing petrol fumes? I know. Let's have a little sign at the end that says, sorry for any delay. It's not good enough. An apology is not enough. We want to see the head of the bloke that designed the system nailed to the final bollard. Ladies and gentlemen. There you go. You've got to have your say. I'll tell you what, we're going to build more motorways, 2 more trains. That's what we need. Love them. Ladies and gentlemen.